Hello everyone, welcome back to Motion RC Live. I'm James, joined by Alex behind the camera, controlling the show. Want to welcome everyone in on this lovely Monday. Sorry it was a surprise. I did not expect today that we'd be doing an unboxing of a new Bancroft warship. I have the box over here for the new one. In front of me is the current version we have, which we'll still carry. It's out of stock at the moment, but this is the 1/144th scale Arleigh Burke. The Arleigh Burke is a destroyer, U.S. Navy destroyer, super duper stealth, one of the most advanced destroyers in the Navy today, still used to this day. So I have this one here for comparison later when I take this one out of the box. So I just want to welcome people in. I'm not expecting too many people to be joining us because, again, I only realized I got the thing yesterday and said, I want to get this in the lake. We don't even have pictures of it to make the web page, so I've got to get it out. I got to get it to the lake. I got to get pictures and video of it so that we can make the pages and such and get it going. So I was like, I'm just going to do a live unboxing, show off a product that's coming very, very soon. It's already in the warehouse, and it'll be here in a as soon as I'm trying to get this thing in the water tomorrow, get it ballast today, but I just want to get it unboxed and show all you guys. Awesome. I looked into the box over here. It's stunning, and it's obviously a lot larger. This model, the 1/144th scale, it's hard to say, sorry, is 42.4 inches. The model, the 1/100th scale that we're going to be showing today and unboxing is going to be 61 inches long. So it's going to be a lot more, a lot bigger physically, but more pronounced detail you get when you got these 1/100 scale, models. So let me put this one, I'm going to put this actually on the floor beneath me a second so that I don't knock it off the table with the box, and I don't want to kick it accidentally. Let's get the coffee out of here so I don't knock this down. Put that underneath. And let me move my phone, and let's bring in the box. So again, 61 inches is this Arleigh Burke. I enjoyed the original 1/144th scale, but check this this box out. I'm up here somewhere. You see me? I'm up here. I already opened the box sideways. I'm gonna do what I normally do with these. What did I just do with my? Did I move my? I just moved, oh, there it is, my X-Acto knife. Just got to cut this, and then we're going to drop the door, and you'll be able to see how she is boxed up. Bang! There we go. Let me center it a little bit. Yeah, it's a huge box. I was not expecting it to be as tall a box as it was. I don't remember the other one, but in this, the superstructure, as you can see over here, is already there. You don't have to add it or anything. They didn't take it off, so I guess they needed the height. You can see the way the Bancroft ships are packaged. They're always packaged beautifully. I know I say this every time I do a live unboxing, but they do a great job making sure that with these styrofoam columns, that very hard to have anything really break in there. Nothing can move when it's going. So this is just really funny. Yeah, Tim the Toolman Taylor, just over the fence. Yeah. I'm forgetting his name now. Somebody will know it. Vic, do you know, you ever watch that back in the day? All right, I'm going to cut this structure off, and then I should be able to lift. There we go. We can get one out of here. Now, the second one has a box in it that's going to have whatever accessories. The transmitter's probably going to be in there, so I'll move that to the side. We'll bring that back up in a second. And now I'm going to start trying to pull this out as we do. Go from one side, come around, go to the other side. I see one other thing in the box on this side over here, taped to the side of the box. I'm going to rip off. This is the stand. They give you the stand. It was taped to the side of the box. We'll put that together in a second. But over here, I'm going to go from underneath. This is not easy. I don't even know where I'm going to put this. There we go. Do it like that. Gone. So just to show you, that's how I'm 6 foot with my sneakers on. So it's a pretty big box. Pretty big box. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Let me bring up just again so you can see the difference.
Oh my.
Because it is,
oh
it is significant. It is significant. It is a very significant difference. I don't know if you guys will be able to really appreciate the size, but if I line up, I'm gonna line up the stern to stern. So that's 44.2 inches, 42.4 inches, and this is 61.1 inches on the 1/100th scale. So absolutely stunning. I'm loving a lot of the detail. I'm seeing a lot of the similarities, just more pronounced. What's it called? Like the Canon, but a lot of the same features. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. You know, what's cool about the Arleigh Burke, obviously a lot of stealth features like the angled superstructure. That's one of the, you know, the big features of it. And it's apparently painted, has all these things that, you know, help it be less detectable by radar and such. And what I heard in this one, which I'm going to find out, it might be in the box, is that this is one of the first Bancroft ships they give us like a decal set. Because again, the Arleigh Burke isn't just one destroyer, it's a class of destroyers. So I'm not sure offhand which one this is. You know, there's a few classes and such. Somebody more knowledgeable about the Navy, you know, lineup would know better than I. But they do apparently give us stickers so we could change the numbers because there's a few different Arleigh Burke. So you'll be able to do that, you know, when we get into the box. But now I'm going to move the original one just to the side here. And let me get started. I'm going to move the big one just off to the side. I can't really take it off, but let me get the stand together so I can get it on the stand. So the stands they give you with these, they're always molded to fit perfectly the hull of the whatever ship you got. So it always comes in 4 pieces. There'll be 2 longer pieces connected to the 2 ends, but I'll show you here in a second. These 2 pieces, sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. These 2 are just a tad different. You probably can't tell by eyeballing it, but one is just cut a little differently. So one will fit perfectly on the rear towards the, you know, the bow of the ship or the stern, and then one, you know, to the bow of the ship will be molded that way and will fit the hull nicely. And then they just push in. And then if I were you, if I was getting one of these, if you're going to use this stand, I always will add, like after the show, I'll add a drop of CA to this support, just so they don't, because sometimes they could be a little loose when you push them in, because they just press in, but some of them they might be a little loose, so you don't want this collapsing while your ship is on it, you know, or if you're transporting it with these. But you drop a little CA in there, then it's not going anywhere. But for my purposes, I'm not going to be moving it too much on the table for this show, but I'm excited to get this in the water. This is going to look good in the water. So let's see. I don't know which is which, but we'll see when we move it up. So now I'm going to transfer her. You know, pretty light because it has no ballast in it. That big bulb on the front, pretty cool. That seemed, I think I'm reversed. So let's do this quick. And then let's pop this. There we go, fits perfectly. So now these, I would suggest if you're buying one of these ships, don't toss away the foam, because I would much rather transport a ship like this with this styrofoam in my car than on the display stand. You know, the display stand, good for working on it, looking at it. You know, obviously you can paint it up, do whatever you want, but the foam itself is molded perfectly and is really going to help make sure it doesn't go anywhere, you know, in your car as well. I can't hang on to all that foam. I have so many of these here. I have to toss them, but our whole studio will be full of foam at this point with the amount of ships. But here she is in all her glory. That is the 1/100 scale Arleigh Burke. Again, not available at the moment, but it's in the warehouse. As soon as we get our pictures, we're going to get this baby on the website for sale. So hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday, as long as I could get out with it. Tomorrow's looking like rain, though. I wish I can get it ballast today and get out there, but worst case, Wednesday's looking pretty good for us, so we should be able to get it up by Thursday the latest. But either way, anyone who's interested in Navy warships, destroyers, this one's absolutely gorgeous. So let me take the foam box. Let's see what's in our box here to see what we're gonna do now. What did I do with that X-Acto knife? There it is. I never remember where I put it. Let me cut this box out. Just cut it out of the foam. Everything's always taped up really well. Nothing moves in a lot of these boxes, so that always is nice. Beautiful. That piece of foam out of the way. And let me just move, I'm gonna move her. Ooh, sorry, Alice. That was like chalkboard moving across the table. But there she is. So let's see what's in the box. Obviously, transmitter is going to be in here. I'm not sure what style this one's going to have. We'll find out here in a second. We got all our stuff. All right. We got the little, I noticed the antenna on the top of that one wasn't on this one. So I assumed it was going to be a little part. And that's what they give you. This is going to be this top antenna radar. Not sure exactly what it is, but we'll put that on. And that's metal. This is plastic on the top, but there's like metal fastener in. Again, a lot of these ships, like a lot of the railings are all brass painted. You know, there's mixes of plastic and metal, and then obviously the hull is fiberglass. You know, a lot of different materials go into these ships. But here we go. We got a whole sticker sheet with all different, so you could pick. I'm gonna have to look and find which Arleigh Burke I want, which numbers, or I could do a fantasy one. My old football number was 54, but I don't know if there's a 54. But maybe I should put it on there and make it my own. But I probably won't do that. I'll probably just make it look exactly like that. Big Jim RC, how do you estimate ballast weight? I don't estimate it. I'm trial and error. So I'll put in whatever I need to make it work. So with this ship, like if you look behind me, the Cap San Diego, this was the most ballast, and it's about the same size. Arleigh Burke looks a little bigger, but it's funny. You'd think they'd have similar weights, but that's not always true. A lot of it has to do with the height, but like this one took 22 pounds of ballast. So I've removed all that. So I'm going to end up using, like I use BBs. So I make 2 pound and 1 pound bag BBs, just a bunch of them. And I'll put it in the water. I have like either I'll fill up my bathtub, which this one won't fit, I'm noticing, but some of them will fit in the bathtub nice. Or I have an inflatable kiddie pool that I'll put outside, fill it up with water, blow it up, fill it up. And then put the ship in there with nothing. And I'll slowly start loading in ballast up and down the ship. My first goal is to just get to the water line, and then I move it around to stop it from listing, So I'll put, a bag in the middle, let's say, start in the middle, then I'll put one in the front. If it's tilting forward, stern, then I'll add more weight to the back. The thing with these ships, I'm not concerned with trying to keep it as light as possible, whatever. You're driving them scale, you're sailing them scale. They're going to look good regardless. It's not like a plane where you're trying to, achieve a CG but not add more weight than you have to. With a boat, I'm just kind of putting it in there, and once it looks good and I can, and then once I believe I have it, I'll purposely push it and see if it goes back, to level. So it's pretty easy. I made a video about it. I did it in my bathtub. But all around, super simple, just takes a little time. It's just trial and error. Just keep adding more and manipulating. But I like putting the BBs in the plastic bags because then like this was the one I took out. This is an older one, like too big a bag. But what I love about BBs are you can spread them along the bottom. They could sort of mold to the hull. So like sometimes if I put a bag in, I'll see the boat list. I don't have to add more weight. I just have to push the weight in a different area, and then it'll be, they'll be fine. Then I'll tape it down here. A lot of guys will actually just pour BBs or the weights and then like epoxy them in once they hit, so they never have to move it. These ships aren't mine. I want to be able to either potentially, some I want to transport them. I don't want to be carrying a 30-pound ship everywhere, so I take the weight out. I like to be able to take them in and out because they're light as a feather without the weight in there. But that's the way I do it. But there's a million ways to skin a cat, as they say. So different strokes for different folks. 2800 milliamp 2S pack. That's the same battery that every one of these ships I've ever gotten comes with, and I've never yet to have it in the water long enough where I ran out of battery. Thank God, because I don't want to go swimming. But you get a lot of drive time on these packs, especially you're really only going half throttle, and even half throttle sometimes on these ships, they have so much power that even that doesn't look scale. You might only need to cruise around at quarter throttle for it to look truly scale, but they can get up and go. And we'll show you around there in a second. Got some American flags, 3 flags that we're going to be able to put around. We got our charger. So this is just the base part, and then there's the plug. Plug this in, plug it in here, 9-volt, plug it in, and then this will charge the battery up through the balance lead. So this will do any 2S or 3S packs. So when you plug it in, you'd see, actually, oh, they didn't move the stickers there. They have stickers over, but these 3 lights here, if it's a 2-cell, which this is, 2 of the lights will be red when you plug it in, and as soon as they both turn green, you're good to go. So that comes with it. And then you get your instruction manual, which is always about 1 page. It's usually 1 page front and back. And again, just talks a little bit about ballasting. Not much to it, just 1 page, nothing on the back. Just gives you, because again, there's not much to these boats. The beauty of the transmitter, there's only 2 channels. It's throttle, forward and reverse, and rudder, right and left. So, very simple operation. I let my kids sail these around the lake when we're there, especially if nobody's around, and I trust that they're not gonna try to smash it into something. But there's a transmitter that this one comes with, so this will just be forward and reverse, and this will be left and right. Not much to it. That's the only thing you will have to supply batteries. It looks like you're going to need 4 AA batteries in the back of it. So that's everything in the box, and then this is just a checklist, which is nice that they include from the manufacturer themselves. This is them. As they're making these, they're checking and signing off that everything is completed in there, from the accessories, making sure you got, the white box is full with all the stuff here, so you can see it's all signed off on, the date it was done. So, always nice to get that. And then, lastly, in this bag was our old friend, the bind plug, which I have a million of those, so I don't need that. That we don't need. But let's now cut the ribbons off, and let's try to show you around this Arleigh Burke. Absolutely stunning. Our CEO, Mark, if you watch, he's a Navy guy, so I'm sure if he was tuned in, he'd probably be loving this. I don't know if he was ever on one. Anyone out there, if you were ever on a destroyer, this looks pretty darn badass. But it looks like the 144th scale version, these 2 superstructures, this part and this part, were removable, and then there's a little hatch in the back to get access to the rudder that has some tape on it. I'll remove, and it looks like nothing up front. So I'll get the weight that I need in the front through this superstructure. So let me cut off these ribbons. These are just like plastic ribbon. Just be careful when you pull them off, because they always guide them through the railings. So just, don't pull too hard. Not that you would, but don't be too overly aggressive with it. So that one's off, and then this structure just comes off. No magnet or anything. It'll just pop right off with ease, which is cool. And that'll give me, I could see in here my dual motor setup. I could see this easy access to the servo for the dual rudder. It's dual rudder in the back, which is nice, but super easy if I ever needed to replace anything. Easy access there, especially at this size too. The pretty cavernous. Should be able to get your hands in there. Don't want to cut myself. Come on, come on. There we go. Slide this out. Beautiful. And that's through the, you don't want to railings. That's out. And then the last one, I'll cut it right here. Try to find a nice space to cut from. Perfect. Now that should just lift off. Beautiful. Hollow through. So if you wanted to add lights, you could probably add an entire hollow on the inside. You could put lights in there. You could probably have a whole battery and everything just inside this, if you really wanted to go super hard on it. But nothing all the way up front. Easy. I get my hand all the way in there and fill that with BBs if I want. No problem, which is great. No, I'm going to hold it up for you, Alex. And you can see you got the dual motor setup, and again, the servo. Two arms, trying to turn it to the light a bit. That's easy. Gopher painting. Hello. What's going on? What's up, Floyd? Missed you in here. Welcome in. Mountain RC, Vic, and then nothing, all the way up to the front, but beautiful fiberglass in there. You can see it's, I've never had one of these take on water inside. The only way they take on water is if, from the top, if I hit, too much splash or anything like that. The helicopter in the back, I'm going to try to remove this tape here. Does this helicopter come off? No, he looks glued down. Okay, he's glued down. So what I'm going to do, where did I put my X-Acto knife? There it is. Where did I put the X-Acto knife? I'm going to cut the tape, and then I'll take it off in a little bit. I'm going to try to just cut through the tape. Can I peel it off? Yeah. Your nail won't scratch the top. I'm trying to just get an end up, but that'll show us access to the rudder. I want to make sure. I think I cut that one nicely. Yeah, I'm just going to cut it. I'll take the tape off later. Never going to see that. Sorry, guys. Take a second. Making sure the X-Acto knife is in the groove. How was everybody's weekends? Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I had a nice day of, I asked not to be bothered. That's what I wanted for my day, for a little bit anyway. I was like, just give me a couple hours, just do my own thing. I'm not fixing anything in the house. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just relaxing on a Sunday. There we go. Now this one does have, okay, even cooler. All right, so this one does have magnets. This is the, let me take that off. So this is the hatch that'll give me access to the arms for the rudder. Probably, I couldn't imagine what you would do in to a boat that you'd break the rudder arms, but if you ever needed to replace them. But there is actually a clear plastic window over the top, so you're looking at the rudder assembly. You see the glare. That's a piece of plastic over the top, waterproofed because most of these ships would take on water on the rear a little bit. So that's to help protect you from getting water inside. But you just peel that back, and then you would have access if you needed to replace those control horns and the control rods for the rudder. So, you know, nice that it's there. It'll also be good because I have a lot of space back there to add a bag of ballast if I need it to balance at the rear. But just looking at the way this is built, I'm trying to remember, you know, my ballast that I had in the 1/144th, but this is where all the weight is. Your motors are here, your receivers here, they put your ESC. It's all in this section is going to be most of the weight. So I assume, my assumption, when I put this in the water, you know, with nothing in it, it's gonna be like this. So I'm gonna add, majority of my weight will probably be, you know, forward. And then back to that question, you know, about the ballast weight, how do you estimate it? It's not a matter of estimating, but like, I could put all the weight right here if I want. I could probably put less weight though, like a lever and a fulcrum, as I push it all the way forward towards there. So if you wanted less weight, because, I don't know, you want your Arleigh Burke to be a speed demon, you know, you could probably put less weight and push it all the way forward. I go for a balance. I try to get weight everywhere. And then for the most part, it's the listing on the sides is what I, you know, is my goal to get rid of completely. Because you don't want that. You know, sometimes, you know, with the way I do it, it does happen to me since I don't lock down the weight too much. You know, I'll put a bag, you know, tape so the bag doesn't move, but sometimes the BBs can shimmy. Like if I'm going full throttle, just to show you on video, sometimes I'll take a sharp rudder turn and, you know, obviously the BBs will shift, and then when I go straight, it stays with a list. And then I could like sharp rudder turn to the right, and then it goes back to, you know, to center. But if you're locking down your ballast, then you'd never have to worry about that at all. So let's put this back, and that again, magnetically on. So that's good that that hatch is magnetic. And for the most part, that's it. Let's put this back on. Our back structure it only fits really one way. A little bit of movement, but that's not gonna, you know, again, that's not gonna move when you're going. And then the big superstructure, I want to put that underneath. There are these two, I'm not sure what these are called, but the back part of the superstructure, I put that through. It'll fit this way, but just in case you don't want to break those off, you could go sort of underneath it and then fit it in nicely. And there's a gap in the railings that'll give you a good way to eyeball it so it fits. And then we got the antenna piece, the one antenna piece that goes up top, and I believe it goes in this. Honestly, with as big as the box are, I'm surprised they didn't have this already.
That was the cutoff.
That was the cutoff? Like, yeah, that little part was too much. But that's up there. I could probably bend that a little back, but beautiful, that goes on. And you could, if you want to glue that on, up to you. It's not going to go anywhere, but I may just, since it is metal, I may just, you know, it fits perfectly. I'm just working it in and out. I may just bend that piece of metal back a tad because it should sit like that, you know. Let me see, maybe it was just me, but it's sitting a little north right now, so I'm gonna bend that back just a tad. But that's that, and then it would just be my stickers, which I'm not gonna do on here. These are not water slide though. Are they water slide? Actually, I think they are now. Actually, I think they are water slide. They are water slide. And they give you, wow, I didn't even realize they give you all the letters. A, B, C, D, every single letter of the alphabet. 4 of each letter of the alphabet at the bottom. So, gonna have to be nice and straight. Gonna have to take my time to do that. But I'm gonna have to do some research, see which version of the Arleigh Burke I want to make that one. But, Alex, I'll do what you always like to do. I'm gonna, we're on that side camera. I'm just gonna face it directly towards the camera for some nice B-roll shots, but absolutely stunning. Always love when I have both versions of, you know, the different sizes for these ships. I mean, they are stunning, stunning warships, and the fact, like, You know, again, they're pricey, but imagine trying to do this by hand, how much time it would take you. Unbelievable how it works, but absolutely stunning all around. And then I'm noticing these, I assume these are, you know, the smoke where the exhaust would come out. So you could conceivably easily, since these are hollow, you could probably mount a smoke unit in these. Like you can mount the smoke unit, drill a hole, and then you could have smoke coming out the top if you wanted to. I don't know how much smoke should come out of these. They're supposed to be stealth, but hey, you see that? But that's what it looks like they are, assuming they're exhaust. I don't know every aspect, every piece of the, of these ships, but either way, absolutely gorgeous. And then let me show you the screws or the propellers. If I call them screws, I get yelled at by guys like, don't call them propellers. If I say propeller, they're screws. Propellers are on a plane. But I've seen it different ways. But 5-bladed. Pretty beautiful down there. And again, light as a feather with no ballast in it. I mean, nothing to it. Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. But they do have some stickers already on. I see sticker here, some of them there. So it'll just be a matter, it's just the big numbers, you know. I guess there's not much difference, or maybe not a noticeable difference between the variants on the Arleigh Burke class. But again, don't quote me on that. I'm gonna have to Google search it and research it more, like anyone else would. But all around, absolutely beautiful, guys. So if you guys have any questions, I don't see too much coming through the comments, which is all cool. The USS Motion 54, that's what I'm thinking. 54 is my number. I may put it on there. This one came with 79 on it. That number seems boring to me. That's like left tackle or backup right tackle number. That's not it. That's not a good number. I feel like it's a linebacker. This thing's taken out. You know, this can do surface to air. This can bomb submarine. This can do this. This is a workhorse. This is the do-it-all. For the Navy. Absolutely stunning. I'd love to see. I never saw one of these in person. Must be really, really cool. Then you can get 1/100 scale figures if you really want to go nuts with it. But wow, it really is beautiful looking at. I love having these. Whenever you take a new one out, it's like Christmas. So I was happy when this big box was outside yesterday. I'm like, I have to unbox this. We got to get this in the water as soon as possible. But you guys, if you have any questions, I'll hang around for another minute or two, answer any questions you got. But if not, then I'm gonna go fill up the inflatable pool today, get the ballast in this thing, and get it ready to take down to the lake and film, get pictures, so we can, make sure we get that website up for you guys to purchase one if you're gonna be a buyer of this. Again, some of the other things I'm noticing, this is all real chain. They use real chain for the anchor portion. It's glued down, so it won't move around or jiggle. But, just for the look on the front. That's what I love about a lot of these models. They'll use like real metal chain. So that's like, that's real metal. Like this piece would be plastic, but this I don't know if you can hear that. I'll bring my mic closer. Like that's real metal. So even if sometimes, like I've done it from experience, but you might bang them and put a little bend, in the in one of these in one of the railings and stuff, but you can easily bend it right back. You can always fix those. You can straighten it out with a pair of pliers, the right tools, if you do ever have an accident like that for those pieces. And then some of the other pieces, you get match the paint color like this, these things here. Whatever these antennae look like, I could just take a toothpick if I ever broke that off and just remake it myself. Some of these little bits would be easy for a modeler, little ingenuity to fix. You know, I've definitely broken little bits off of these sometimes. It's just nature of the beast. You move too fast around it and you knock into it, and then you're like, ugh, and then you just glue it in. But for the most part, very easy to fix. But all around, guys, so I don't see any other questions coming in. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this quick video today. So thanks for joining us on this Monday. This 1/100 scale Arleigh Burke will be available at some point this week, as long as we can get pictures of it. I didn't see any pictures from the, you know, sometimes we start off with the pictures that the manufacturer themselves supply us, but then we like to replace those with our own pictures, nicer pictures, but I don't see those, so I don't know if they're available. So I'm going to have to get the pictures for this. All good though. I'm going to try to do that as fast as humanly possible so that we can get this up for sale on the website as soon as possible. But it's here, it's waiting, and it's stunning. Absolutely stunning. But guys, thank you so much for joining. Once again, all you fathers out there, hope you had a great Father's Day yesterday. If you're in the Army, I know their birthday was last Friday, so if you're an Army veteran, you know, happy birthday to the Army. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching Motion RC. Thanks for shopping at motionrc.com, motionrc.eu, and we will see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye, guys.